Byrum Brown threw for 3,158 yards and rushed for 1,008 more in 2025, making him just the 12th player in FBS history to throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000 in a single season. That puts him in the club with Vince Young, Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray, amongst others. When he announced that he was following his head coach, Alex Golesh, from USF to Auburn, critics had two main questions about Byrum Brown. Will his game translate to the SEC? Critics will say his numbers were inflated by playing against lesser teams and the rapid-fire offensive system. And two, critics will say that his erratic, unorthodox throwing motion, it's going to lead to issues, specifically with uncatchable throws downfield. The skeptics will argue that these SEC defenses, they're going to make life tough on him. Whether or not his game can translate to Auburn is one of the biggest questions and unknowns in college football right now. So I wanted to find out for myself whether the critics were right or whether he could put Auburn back on the map. The best way to find out is to go back to the tape when the whole college football world was introduced to Byrum Brown, when the dude played an SEC defense and came out on top. Week 2 in the swamp, where USF won 18-16 behind 329 total yards of offense from Byrum Brown. With Byrum Brown's game, the first thing you need to know is that it starts with his legs. And if you're an Auburn fan watching this, these next two plays would fire me up. Clip out these two plays and send them to an Auburn hater and be like, yo, this is our quarterback next season, look out. This is the second to last play before the end of the first half. I can't draw a line. End of the first half against Florida. And it's key because he picks up like 20 yards here, gets him down to the 5-yard line. They're able to get 3 points here, which is not a given. And they ended up winning by 2 points. So without this play, they might not win on the road against Florida. Brown's going to escape the pocket down the middle, and you get to see his explosiveness and athleticism early on in this game against an SEC defense, against a good defensive line. It's not there. And he's big too. He can shake off defenders. Shakes off 2 defenders there, gets down to the 5-yard line. They're able to pick up a big first down. Earlier on in that game, this is like the second play of the game. I want you to look at 2 defenders here. It's just going to be a simple zone read, running back going left to right. Brown's going to pull this ball, and he's out the gate to the right. That's actually a lie. I don't make a habit of lying to you guys, but this time he was up the middle and then bounces it to the left. And look at how he shucks this defender here, this linebacker, and then this safety just gets lost. He thinks he has a pursuit angle down the middle. Nah, athleticism for Brown out the gate. Doesn't matter if it's an SEC defense. USF's quarterback coming to play. Look at him. It's a little, like Le'Veon Bell cut. Reminds me of a Le'Veon Bell cut right there. Not saying he can run like Le'Veon Bell, but this is a big time run. Early on in the game, set the tone. You know that Alex Golesh went into that game saying early on, we got to set the tone. Second play of the game, we're going quarterback run. And as I was diving in, I felt like just the Florida game, it didn't give you the whole picture on Byrum Brown. So I went and watched his best game of the season against UTSA, 271 QBR. He was 14 for 15, 2 touchdowns, but most importantly, 9 carries, 110 yards on the ground. And what's a little different when he starts playing UTSA defense is he starts hurdling kids. This corner is ultimately the victim, but this safety gets introduced to Byrum Brown's power right there in the alley. He shucks that, runs down the left sideline, makes a play, and as we said, he hurdles the defender. We're going to hang out here. I got you the back view to make you fully appreciate when you got a QB going up and over. I don't really know how much he gained there, but to me, I like it because I'm like, all right, like he's got some real athleticism. If you're pulling out the hurdle mid-game, you definitely have swag, but you also have legit athleticism. This is just basic quarterback off tackle right. Auburn fans, does that ring a bell from about 16 years ago? Damn, it's been 16 years. Anyways, off tackle right, this safety's now the victim. After Byrum Brown breaks a couple tackles, that's the dude that ultimately gets hurdled. I'm showing you these plays to show you that the power, the athleticism, the mobility, it is a real factor. It's not just like a third down red zone thing. It's play in and play out. You have to monitor 17's legs in a way where guys are getting punished when they go for a tackle. And when you have a quarterback that can run, it means defenses are going to pack the box, which means it puts corners on an island, one-on-one coverage. And as a quarterback, in that scenario, you have to be good as a deep ball thrower. Punish the defense for no over-the-top help. That's exactly what he does against UTSA here. Little play fake, stays calm in the pocket, delivers the rock. Yo, Max, I thought you said concern, throwing the deep ball downfield. I'm not seeing that there. Well, hang on that thought real quick. But here you'll see the other side of when your quarterback's mobile and what you can do in the pass game. We saw some of these zone reads, right? Running back coming left to right. Brown's going to be out the gate towards the right. This linebacker's in a bind. Does he go towards Browne? Well, then this receiver on the top of the screen's wide open. If he goes with the receiver up here, well, then Brown's just going to run down this alley. Puts a defense in a tough spot when instead of playing just 5 skill players, you have the 6th guy to worry about. And then just for good measure, we go back to the UTSA game where when he's cooking, man, I hate making this comp, but it looks like a former Auburn number 2 guy. Number 2 guy. That's a weird way. Number 2 guy. A guy that wore number 2. You got an over route here. You got a drag route here. I want you to see the running back. After this play fake, he's going to work down this sideline. Brown's going to break contain here and then ultimately hit the running back on the bottom of the screen. These are the plays that kill you if you're a defensive coordinator because at this point, right there, now it's just recess football. Now dude's just going out there and making a play. Excellent playmaking ability on that one. And then here, you got a big post on the top of the screen, little wheel route here. He's ultimately going to hit this post. But I want you to pay attention to his pocket movement. He steps up. His mobility is still a factor even when he's operating from the pocket, and it allows his receiver to make a play downfield. You combine the quarterback run game and the threat of having to have gap alignment, and then it exposes the defense downfield when they have to cover. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this video and want to support the channel, do me a solid and like the video down below and subscribe to the channel as well. All sorts of content coming down the pipeline this season. But the problem is Byrum Brown is not a good downfield deep ball thrower. And that was extremely evident in the Florida game. They were leaving some points out there, some home run shots. Here they got a post by this slot receiver and then another vertical route that's going to switch towards the right hash. It's worth noting that they're faking this quarterback run game to the right, trying to get the defense to suck up and then hit a deep shot down the field to the other guy that I circled, 2nd guy. And I'm going to pause it right when he gets to the top of his route, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, I know you need to fake the run, but right there, this is what people dream of against Florida. You have a guy running scot-free, heavy-footed defender right there. This corner can't make a play. Throw it 56 yards downfield for a USF touchdown. Instead, that longer motion, which we'll get to as well, the longer motion, it takes a little bit there. It's a little bit like, it takes a little while to get there. A little bit of a pushing sensation at the end. And however you want to break it down, this is just not a good throw. 3 Gators are in there. Yes, I know he's running out of field a little bit, but you can drive that ball there. That guy's open in Division I football. Shows up again. This time they have a little switch release. Outside receiver coming in, inside receiver coming out. And I want you to look at this receiver because he burns this corner right here. This safety's heavy-footed. This is an opportunity. Again, I know that Byrum Brown, he's on the far hash. This is a big boy throw. But dude, this is what quarterbacks dream of. Get a little switch release. He's past him right there. You can see Brown, longer throwing motion, but he's loading up. He's pulled the trigger at this point. This guy is open. Throw it as far as you can. Not even as far as you can. Throw it 50 yards downfield, and you will have yourselves a touchdown, or at the very least, a big play. Right there, doesn't get it, gets hit and knocked down. You can see the receiver's like, man, I had him. See, you can see he's pissed right there. He claps his hands because he knows. So does Alex Golesh. So they come back to that same exact play later on in the game. Same exact route. You got inside release, that same receiver, outside release by the slot receiver. And again, this poor corner's in trouble. And again, you have an opportunity against this safety. Unfortunately, again, Byrum Brown, I think this one, he leaves short again. It's not all on the release. That's not the release. He's just got to get that ball out. He gets hit. That receiver's open. And again, look at my man. He's like, dude, this is twice. We're on the road in the swamp, and I just twice burnt this guy. You got to give me a throw so I can do something with it. And then at this point, you might be asking, Max, if it was that ugly in the passing game against Florida, how the hell did they win? Well, it was plays like this, utilizing tempo or Byrum Brown. Again, now, hopefully this is the same receiver. I don't even know if this is the same receiver, but he's working his ass off, and finally he gets rewarded because Byrum Brown throws it into double coverage, gets away with it. This is a terrible play by this safety out here who's trying to disguise, but then he gets caught because he's laid out here and ends up tackling his own guy. Anyways, this should be an interception. This safety's getting absolutely chewed out in meeting rooms. This is Byrum Brown getting away with one. There might have been a flag on that play, but that is terrible defense. And hey, our USF receiver buddy finally got paid. They won that game versus Florida for 3 reasons. Timely plays like that one. Their screen game was dialed. Byrum Brown probably threw for 80, 90, 100 yards and just screens that game. And then 3, they got away with stuff like that. I haven't addressed the throwing motion yet, and this is the perfect example for why it is a huge concern, the long release from Byrum Brown. This right here is in the first half against Florida. It's 3rd and 15 right now in a low-scoring game, and you're in the red zone. Or I guess you're 4 inches away from the red zone. I bet Alex Golesh is screaming through his headset after not taking advantage of this play. You got a post by this outside receiver, and then the slot receiver breaks out and then baits him and then comes back in. This defensive end for Florida saves the day. He beats this left tackle right away and gets a hit on Byrum Brown. So then it looks like, it's the left tackle's fault. Like, bad job. Yes, it is a poor job, but I would make the argument if Byrum Brown had a quicker release, yeah, he'll still get hit, but he'll get away with this completion. And here's what I mean. As we play this, you'll see the left tackle get torched. Byrum Brown has already started his throwing motion. You can see that ball is, from this angle, it's terrible. That ball at this angle looks like it's at his right kneecap. But if he had a tighter release, there's some space right here between the defensive end. And he's already committed to throwing to this receiver who is going to have tons of green grass. And if this ball gets out quicker, which it's impacted by the hit, I think this guy might score. And it's a touchdown early on and changes the entire complexion of the game. Look at this. He gets hit, ball's in the dirt, but that receiver's coming open for a touchdown. And in the second example in this same game, this is not as good of an example. So please, if you're going to clip something out, use that first one. The second one's being a little nitpicky, but you'll get the point that I'm trying to drive home. They got a 3-man bunch concept on the bottom of the screen. You got a little post concept, you got a drive route, and then this receiver is the guy that Brown's trying to get on a little 5-yard hitch. I want you to pay attention to this safety linebacker out of safety body, it looks like. He has some depth. I want you to see when Byrum Brown decides to pull the trigger, and then where this safety is when he breaks on the ball. Byrum Brown already in his throwing motion right there. You can see, right? Here, this safety has eyes on, and he's trying to throw to this receiver. There's some room there. I know this is nitpicky, but I don't think it should result in, if he throws this accurately, it's a pick 6 the other way. Again, that's not the best example, but it's that type of play. If I'm looking ahead towards this season of, hey, if he is having 5-yard hitches, 5-yard outs, batted away or PBUs, or you get in games where, his receivers aren't getting open, those literal half seconds, tenths of a second, they matter, especially in the SEC. Earlier on in this, I said Florida's defense was good, but the reality is, now that I checked my notes, they were far from elite in 2025. They ranked 12th in the SEC in total defense and gave up just under 154 yards on the ground per game. But now, Byrum Brown, he's got to face a full SEC schedule. After watching the film, I can confidently say I do not know if his game is going to translate. But I can't wait to see what he and Alex Golesh do, because it could be a sneaky curveball thrown in to the whole SEC mix. Hey, do me a solid. If you enjoyed this video, like it down below, subscribe to the channel. All sorts of football content coming this fall.